Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Thursday, July 4th, 2019. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is down 1.13% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 11,840, a high of 12,043, and a low of 10,954. That's $1 for 8,444 Satoshis. Our top story, Bitcoin rallies 2K in 24 hours, but price hurdles remain intact. From Omkar Godbul at Coinbase. Bitcoin has risen nearly $2,000 in the last 24 hours, establishing strong support at 9,600. The outlook, however, would only turn bullish once the bearish lower highs pattern is invalidated, with a move above 12,448. A breakout, if confirmed, could be followed by a rise to or above the recent high of 13,880. If Bitcoin fell back to 9,600, if the prices fail to hold above 8,030 in the next 24 hours, validating the bearish crossover of the 5 and 10-day moving averages. Keeping track of our next story, Bitcoin price report, retail investor enthusiasm has returned. Once again, you gotta feel sorry for the poor retail bastards. When the price of Bitcoin is down, they can't buy because, oh no, it's going to zero. But when the price of Bitcoin goes up, there they are to buy your bags and take losses. Those poor retail bastards just can't seem to time anything right. Blockstream launches atomic swaps on liquid Bitcoin sidechain. That's right, Blockstream has created an experimental tool that allows users to trade trustlessly between tokens launched on its liquid sidechain. This could be the end of all altcoins, because why do you need to run your own network when you could do it on top of Bitcoin with a sidechain? It kind of seems like that whole altcoin nonsense from the last year was really just a big mistake. All the money, all the capital, all the investors made mistakes because they bought the wrong technology and they bought it way too early. Chinese media is all praises for Bitcoin. Hey, that sounds good. That's rare. The Chinese media says Bitcoin is a haven asset, no longer an outlier. And the Chinese media is promoting Bitcoin and reintroducing their Bitcoin and crypto price index on Sina Finance, a leading financial publication in China. This is great news for Bitcoin, of course. How long will it last? No one knows, but China is potentially positioning Bitcoin as an alternative to the Chinese yuan and the US dollar as President Trump continues to tighten monetary policy on China and trying to stop. Just wait till they switch over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's energy consumption equals that of Switzerland. Yay! That's right. The energy consumption for Bitcoin has risen once again, but it's still around 7 gigawatts of electricity, which, so what, says the kid, and he's right, because that's the same amount used as Christmas lights. That's right, 6.63 billion kilowatt hours states, or we could compare that to banks, and the banks use at least 30 kilowatts. That's even just with some of the efficiency here. It's very difficult to calculate the actual amount that banks used. We'll say around 30. So Bitcoin is still 3 times more efficient than a very conservative calculation of the cost of the banking system. Of course, Bitcoin is not just a payment network like Visa. It is an entire monetary system, and also it's worth paying for. So what? That Bitcoin uses as much energy as Christmas lights. That's great. We also have a very sad story today. We're saying a profoundly sad goodbye to Mad Magazine, which after 67 years, they almost made it 70, is ceasing publication. As Weird Al Yankovic says here, I can't begin to describe the impact it had on me as a young kid. It's pretty much the reason I turned out weird. goodbye to one of the all-time greatest American institutions. Mad Magazine shutting down at 67. As always, you could donate to support the show. We've got 15 donations. We've had 0 donations in the last 5 days. So if you want to break the trend, send $5 in Bitcoin or Lightning to the QR code on your screen right now. That would really help out and help us keep running the show. We are testing out the show on the new soundboard today, so we can do things like this. I'm sure that's going to make the show much better. We're also joined by Ben from Wales with a quick update on the Bitcoin price. How's it going, Ben?
Yeah, good. Yeah, very well. Interesting stories there. You can hear me and everything okay? You hear me fine, yeah?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, the energy story always comes back, doesn't it? No matter how much we try and bury it. And it does consume a lot of energy, and it consumes almost too much energy, and some of that energy is dirty now, and that sucks. And you can't hide that fact, but there's no way of stopping it. So, or there's no way you're going to stop that energy from being used for work.
It also opens up new potential for the energy to be used at the hydroelectric dams. We can put batteries right there. We can, instead of storing the energy in batteries, which are difficult to produce, we can store the energy in Bitcoin. This is a very good option.
All that stuff makes a lot of sense, and it does incentivize green energy. But a lot of the energy production, a lot of the energy used on Bitcoin is still dirty. It's still causing greenhouse gases and bad emissions. So, but yeah, we are hopefully moving more towards green energy consumption, incentivizing as well, like you say, surplus energy which isn't being used, which is quite often the problem with these green energy initiatives, is they have surplus energy which they can't store, so they can lock it up in value and then they can sell this Bitcoin somewhere else. That makes a lot of sense. But then also, like you say, it is an efficient system. So like Nick Zabel, who talks about social scalability and the ability for Bitcoin to have lots of cost savings for companies and businesses as they scale. You're being used for other things than just money. Eventually, when we do smart contracts and so on, that it will provide a lot more efficiency in those areas as well. So yeah, it's an investment worth making, and it doesn't even matter if I was against the energy consumption of proof of work. There's literally nothing I can do. It's just going to keep going. So all I can do is try and promote people for it to incentivize green energy production. I think as a bit of propaganda against Bitcoin. When Libra coin starts doing their pitch on the masses, I think the energy consumption thing, because most technical bright people, when you talk to them about who are against Bitcoin, when you talk to them about Bitcoin, their number one argument they fall back on is the energy consumption of Bitcoin. Oh, it uses so much energy. And although we do incentivize the use of green energy, it isn't great. It does use a lot of energy, but so that is going to be something. It's going to be a topic we're all going to have to become well sighted in, because we're going to have to kick back against the Libra coin shills, I imagine. And the other story.
What more energy use and more benefit to society? Christmas lights, Bitcoin, Christmas lights.
I know exactly. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe we should point them at the real target, which is the real bad, which is the Christmas lights. People using Christmas lights. The atomic swap thing, is that through Lightning? Because I saw a thing on Lightning Network, being able to use Lightning Network on top of Liquid, and then that will give you the ability to be able to swap between tokens. Is that what that's referring to?
I think that lets you swap between Lightning tokens or between tokens on a Lightning network. Now, I think it's swapping using the Liquid Bitcoin, which is like their own kind of token. So I think it's more swapping on the Bitcoin network rather than on the Lightning network.
Yeah, there was an article Adam Back reminded people they got C Lightning, and then they're able to run C Lightning on top of the LBTC. So the Liquid token. So the idea being that you could have Lightning on top of these tokenized assets and then utilize Lightning's properties. So I just wondered if it's basically the same thing, but rejigged. It kind of makes sense that it would be, because you could use Lightning Network to do a swap between the two. So yeah. Anyway, should we have a little look at the crazy price, shall we? How do I do I'm such a dumbass. How do I do a screenshot on this bloody thing?
Should be still in the hidden screen share menu that Google hides from you.
Why?
We are saying a fond goodbye to Google Hangouts here. It is a very sad month. They say they're going to replace it with something just as good. But
Oh,
why would they do that?
yeah.
I don't know. You have it up yet, Ben?
It's the way how it, yeah, I've got the screen share thing, but like in the back end of YouTube, they still have to have their legacy back end because their new back end is just so incredibly bad. Like, why? Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, yeah, there we are. Let's have a little look, see what we can do here. Right. So, am I sharing? There's Thomas. There we are.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, as you said, Thomas, this is a very important price point. We can see if we zoom out here, we've had a lot of resistance here in the past, and it seems to be an important price point. So it makes sense that we're going to bounce around here for a while, and you know, at the sort of 11,100 ish. Sorry, 11,700, 800 mark. It makes sense that we're going to sort of bounce around here, and there's going to be some resistance. I did think because we had such a massive run up that we were just going to smash through it and then just continue to all-time highs. But we have taken a little breather and you know, doing a bit of consolidation. If we go in, let's have a little look on the 3 month here. We did have this kind of nice channel thing building, which we seem to have dropped out of. So yeah, so it's looking a bit sideways at the moment, but you know, there's just so much momentum behind Bitcoin at the moment. Like you say, with these Wall Street on ramps like Fidelity, and we recently had one in the UK as well. There's an investment fund which has just launched. I've forgotten the name of it. Which you'll be able to, you know, for institutional investors, they'll be able to buy Bitcoin. So that's always going to help push the price up. There was like a Rubini debate which happened in one of the Asia Bitcoin conferences, and one of his arguments was against the Google trends. So the Google trends are down for searches on Bitcoin compared to, so say in 2017, I think we're at like 12% of what they were in 2017, which you can easily kick back on. You can just say, well, yeah, people know what people know what a Bitcoin is, so that they're Googling it less. But then also that if these are, you know, bigger investors, bigger institutional investors, rather than, you know, during 2017, a lot of it was kind of like individual small investors, you know, people buying into ICOs and things, and then having to Google Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin that way. So the fact that it's 12% just means that it's probably larger volume, larger scale buys. So I think the price is going to go up. It's obviously going to bounce around here for a while. When we zoom out, it's fairly obvious why, because this has been an important resistance zone in the past. If we have a little look down here in the newsfeed, what's going on here? So Bitcoin price dominance over altcoins, surge speculated to restore balance to the cryptocurrency market. Some XML stuff there. Binance moving away from Omni, Tether, just loads of shitcoin news. Bitcoin price analysis, BTC USD retreats from 1200. Bulls brace for another assault. Yeah, so I think that it does kind of feel like that. It feels like we're building some pressure. You know, we're smashing those sell orders, and then we will pop up and go a little bit higher. There is obviously, like, if you're looking at the pattern there, it does look a little bit like that classic dead cat bounce bubble pattern, but no, I don't think we're repeating that. So should we have a look at the altcoins? I know there's something you're not too into, but I'd like to look at it just to give you some perspective on Bitcoin. So Litecoin's at $125. It's up 3%. It's at a high of 127.4 and a low of 119. It's still looking, I mean, like, so all the other altcoins are pretty correlated. Well, you know, the top ones are correlated to Bitcoin, but Litecoin still seems to be doing its own thing. So I'm still kind of waiting for it to get back in sync with Bitcoin, but it hasn't quite done it yet. That's still again, well, like Bitcoin, though, it has fallen out of that channel. So it was kind of building a channel which it was hitting the bottom of, and then going to the top of, and it looks like we've kind of dropped out of that for a while. So we'll see if we can make it back into that channel. Let's have a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, well, that looks a bit scary. There's kind of these three descending peak things going on, but it means absolutely nothing because it is obviously just tracing, you know, Bitcoin's price. So, but for people who just trade Ethereum, it might mean something to them. So Ethereum's at $297.7. It's had a high of $300 and a low of $293. And as I said, if we look at the two, it's just, you know, it's just tracing Bitcoin's price movement pretty much. Monero Monero had this like crazy. Do you know anything? Do you follow any of the Monero news, Thomas? Because there seems to be it kind of uncorrelated. Maybe last week when I was at the Bitcoin conference, I just wondered whether there was some bullish news or something, because it managed to kind of keep its high longer than Bitcoin, which I found pretty interesting.
I just heard that guy got an $80,000 watch from Monero, so you can trust him.
Yeah, well, there we are. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Maybe he was trying to keep the price up, or so he could ditch his Monero to buy his watch. Yeah. So, and as I said in the past couple of Bitcoin coffee break things shows I've done, the gold price is really interesting at the moment. So if we take a little look at gold and have a little look historically, so for the past 6 years, gold has been trying to smash through 1,350. And we smashed through it. So and there was this kind of like ascending wedge thing building. So I think that we could trace up like $300 from that point, which would take us up to kind of $1,600. And then that's hitting against these, important price points here. So what I really like though is when you look at gold and then you look at it in comparison to Bitcoin, and you start to see, let's move this one a little bit closer. You start to see some correlation between the two. So you mentioned before, did you mention, China warming up to Bitcoin? I think that a lot of this could be kind of Hong Kong and stuff which has been going on in Hong Kong. People are trying to find somewhere safe to store their money, particularly in China where the government can't get to it. And now they've got these trade tensions. So it makes sense that gold and Bitcoin will be going up kind of together, because it's a non-correlated asset with the market, something they can opt out of the markets into. If we look at the S&P 500, this is bizarre. The S&P 500 is also going up, and that's really high, and it's broken through those last couple of highs from the past couple of years. So yeah, I've absolutely no idea what's going on there. They're going on with the S&P 500. I think maybe with these trade tensions, people are kind of picking a side, and they're pouring liquidity into the US stocks, which could kind of make sense. But then Trump has also recently come out and said that he wants to inflate the US dollar. So I think for Wall Street, he's just trying to pump liquidity into those businesses, and on the books look like he's out competing the Chinese. But everyone fails in a trade war like that. Everyone loses in a trade war like this. So yeah, it's pretty bad. Should you ever look at the
ancient Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times.
What was that? Sorry, say that again.
Ancient Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times.
Oh, really? That's nice. Yeah, you're right. It's yeah, you want stability and boring markets, really, as opposed to volatile, crazy Trump markets. It's the knock-on effect as well. Like this could have serious repercussions. Not immediately, but 6 months, a year. All these companies and businesses who don't know where to put their production, they don't know where to buy their resources from to produce their new products. Everything gets pushed back, and that has a massive effect on markets. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin Reddit, shall we, and see how Bitcoin Land's doing. So what have we got? What have we got pinned at the top? Bitcoin recap. No, not a lot there. My dad finally came out after 3 years after telling them about Bitcoin. Yeah, a lot of people experience this. You'll tell your parents or your loved ones that you've bought Bitcoin, they think you're an idiot, and then when they see you do quite well off it, they'll then come back to you and say, "Oh, I was thinking about buying and investing in some Bitcoin." It's a very satisfying moment.
They always wait till the worst times. They wait till it's high and it's up. I'm thinking those are mainly counter indicators now. If you get a call from someone you used to work with or someone you went to high school with, and they're like, "Hey, you still into that Bitcoin thing?" It might be time to sell. But last time it was.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, because it was when we were at the high in 2017. Everyone was calling, asking how to buy Bitcoin. Currently, that's not happened. So I think, yeah, we'll see if that. How's your experience of that? Has anyone phoned you yet?
No phone calls yet, but people are starting to sniff around, the usual suspects who you told to buy Bitcoin much, much earlier, and they ignored you. And now that the price is up, which again, the media keeps doing this with the articles. Oh, when the price is up, they're like, oh, if you had bought Bitcoin at this point, you would have this much now. But when the price is down, they're like, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. It's terrible. It's awful. If you did the opposite of what they said every time, especially CNBC, you did the opposite of whatever CNBC told you, you would do very well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I never tell people to buy Bitcoin. You know, loved ones, and if someone wants to buy some Bitcoin and they want me to show them how to do it like securely and in a way where they're not going to lose their Bitcoin, then I'll help them with that. But it has to be their own decision. But when we did hit the bottom a couple of months back, I did text all those people who'd been in contact with me in 2017. I said, yeah, you know, I think now is a pretty good time to buy it. It may go down a little bit more, but it's going to go up from here. And then none of them, you know, wanted to.
None of them bought.
None of them bought. None of them. They were, you know, chicken shit. But they will be back when we hit like 100K. So there we are. What else have we got in here? Please stay away from scammers like this. It's looking pretty dull out on Bitcoin Red at the moment. Bitcoin is on the homepage of Yahoo Finance. That's pretty dope. Look at that. Someone buying a Tesla. Oh no. Let's have a look here. What we got here? Is it a number plate? Hodl on. It's true. Like I bought a Tesla from hodling. Good lad. Trump tweeted this morning saying that the US needs to print more US dollars. Bitcoin will rule them all. So yeah, this is what markets do. This is what countries do when they're in trouble. They print more of their filthy fiat, and then flood the markets with fake liquidity, which is someone has to pick up the check at some point, and that's why you end up with economic crisis. So this is actually quite scary that he's tweeting things out like this. Lightning powered vending machine. Yeah, hats off to these guys. Zyozeta lightning hack Bitcoin game. So someone's made a nice hack there where they've installed a tablet into a vending machine, and then they're having to interact with the tablet so they can buy products using Lightning. I got a couple of vending machines I've been playing with. I'm really into retrofitting though, so I like the vending machine. In fact, the vending machine, I'll switch to Thingy Bob. If I turn screen share, how do I turn screen share off? Oh, here we are. There we are. You can see here, I've got this vending machine here. This is like an old cigarette machine, which I retrofitted, and it works as well on Lightning. But it's so heavy and bulky and cumbersome. I can't really take it out of my attic now. It's too dangerous. I've got some other vending machines over here which I want to retrofit. I'm quite into
and also hats off to you, Ben. I know a lot of people were talking about the Bitcoin 2019 conference in San Francisco, and a lot of them were saying their favorite part was paying for Pac-Man and paying for pinball with the Lightning Network. And I don't think you got near enough credit for that. I saw the Bitcoin magazine tweeting about Open Node and not mentioning you, and I just think Ben right here, Ben Ark on Twitter now, I guess, deserves all the credit. He made all the little Lightning machines. He showed up early, plugged them in. No one's talking about it, but Bitcoin 2019 wouldn't have been all the fun with the video games if you didn't show up. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it was an excellent experience, and thank you so much for the recognition. I mean, OpenNode, they were wonderful. I mean, they did pay to fly me out there. And then they sponsored the modules, and more importantly, they sponsored little development kits. So we had like a whole bunch of these development kits with the e-paper display, the SP32, and I was able to give those out to people. And they didn't have to buy them. I was able to give them out to people. I made a nice GitHub page with a portable version of the Arduino IDE. So it's really easy to download. You could just run it, flash the software on, and then you've got a point-of-sale terminal, for under $20. So that was great.
I definitely think that'd be a good kit to sell as well. People at home, if you have an arcade machine or if you have a friend that owns one in a coffee shop or something like that, you want to convert it to Bitcoin, add that as an offering. You could accept Lightning. Maybe it still works with the old coins, but maybe you have to convert it over. But anyway, I think people would be interested in that as a project.
This is what I really like as minimal invasiveness when it comes to retrofitting, because you don't. And I love the Lightning vending machine with the tablet, but I want to kind of see. I want to see the same vending machine, but where you press the buttons and then you've just got a little display which then pops up with a QR code. So you then have the option. So you're using the old system, but then you're able to generate a Lightning invoice. Just on a separate tiny little module, so it's like minimum invasiveness, if you know what I mean. Like the problem with this one was I had to rip out all the electronics, and I didn't like that. Whereas some of the other vending machines, I think I can just do a sort of minimal, damage when I take, so I could take out the ability to be able to run Lightning, and it was still like the old vending machine and work mechanically exactly as it was. And the arcade machines, I mean, it's just you're just connecting a switch to the coin mechanism, so you can still use the coin mechanism. I mean, in Bitcoin Conf, we put little stickers over because it's fun, little Bitcoin stickers over the coin to be. You could still drop quarters in there. It would work. I tell you what, a couple of things which are really cool. When I first turned all the machines on, they wouldn't work, and I couldn't work out why they wouldn't work. And I was once you paid the invoice, I was triggering a switch to come on for half a second. I thought, why is it not working? And then I got in contact with the guy, and the guy was like, "Oh no, it's too long. The switch has been triggered for too long. It needs to be like a fifth of a second or a quarter of a second." And what it is like back in the day, kids would drill holes in quarters and tie a fishing line around it, and then drop it into the machine. And when they did that, generally they did it for kind of half a second. They do it a little bit longer than say if the coin was just to move through the machine. So it's like a security feature on the machine to stop kids from hacking them with the quarters on the string. So I thought it was really cool. Like I had to drop the amount of time down on the module so it switched the thing. And this is my favorite part of the whole conference, is a lot of the venue staff, they came over and said, "Oh, so what's this, blah, blah, blah." And I explained to them what it was. And then I said, "Oh, download Wallet Satoshi. I'll send you some." So I sent them some Satoshis, and then they were able to buy credits on the arcade machines. Whenever they had a break, they would go up and they'd start playing on the arcade machines, to the point where they would then tell their friends, other staff in the venue, they say, "Oh, download this wallet," and then they'd be sending Satoshis to their friends. And then when we all left on the first night, I powered off all the machines, and they went up and they powered them all back on because they had nothing to do, because it's like that, that dead 6 hours when no one's there, they've just got to look after the venue. And they're all up there playing on the arcade machines and like paying in Satoshis. That was so cool, like watching those future coiners engaging in Bitcoin and appreciating the Lightning Network and its ability to do super fast microtransactions. So that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, stuff spinning off from that. So I'm hopefully going to be putting some kits together for the Lightning conference in Berlin. I got Christian Rutzel from Raspberry Blitz. He's coming over next week, and we're gonna try and do some tutorials here, there, around the UK. So that should be fun. Going to UCL, University of College London, to run a Blitz tutorial. So that should be good too. I'll try and do some stuff for WCN on that. So yeah, no, there's stuff going on, which is cool.
Very cool. And I got to meet Christian in Berlin as well. He also wrote the Doge Rain app back in the day. It was this great app. You could just slide forward and dump Dogecoin on people. It even had a geographical limiter.
Did he make that?
Yeah, he made the Doge Rain app. Yeah, back in the day. And yeah, we were talking to him, and we were talking to Christian Decker from Blockstream, and we were pretty much saying you should make a Lightning Rain app, which of course would be perfect. You could use all the lightning metaphor and everything. And yeah, he said he was totally into it. He said it was a better idea than anything they had at the Lightning Hackathon. He was like, that right there, in total, a better idea. And yeah, I'm great with ideas. Execution was a little harder, but I'd love it if someone built a Lightning Rain app. I'd be totally in favor of that.
I should try and because we've got to do some hacking when he comes down. He's staying for a week. We've got a few spare days where we can, you know what it's like around here, because you've got a lot of nice things to look at. So we'll probably just end up going on walks and stuff. But I want to sit down on the computer and start doing some hacking. Something I want to make is a Jacob's ladder. The electric Jacob's ladder, so you can pay Lightning and then have real Lightning. Just as like a little installation to take to conferences and put somewhere. People can pay and it'll go. So I thought maybe I could work.
Very good. I think we're heading towards the end of the show here, Ben. So anything in closing you want to say?
No, not really. Just lots of amazing stuff going on in the background. I think the price is obviously exciting at the moment, but don't spend too much time thinking about it. Think more about the technology and all the great people working on building interesting things.
And then just a reminder, we are still running the Mad Bitcoin Summer Gear fundraiser. You can donate now to the QR code on your screen, accept Bitcoin and Lightning, or if you message me on Twitter, I guess I'll take some crazy altcoin. We had a very nice Ethereum donation. Right now I am talking to you through the new Rodecaster Pro board. I can mix my sound up and down, up and down. I can practically mute myself. I can play little sounds like This one. Oh, there we go. Yay! And womp, womp, womp. So we'll start working with that more in the next couple of days, but it plugged in really nice right into USB, and I could add up to 4 people. We could also add phone calls, but we're going to work on that later. This was just a short update of today in Bitcoin. So until next time, bye bye.